this, huh? I do like that Lyle's never, ever, ever been on target with his trying to say something at the intro of things, but
One of these days, I'm going to get it.
he's going to get it.
It's a blind squirrel finds a nut, every now
He
and
said
then.
he was never going to get it, but then he get it. So
Oh wait, Brad did pop his collar, Brian. God damn
I
it,
told you.
he's still rolling.
We gotta get the popped collar going. All right, that's fair.
I got the
My
Turtle
collar's
Club
too
happening.
floppy.
All of
Oh,
the
you
things.
want the Turtle Club back? I'll bring it back.
No, I want to keep it like that because you look like a homeless guy with a pop collar now. I love everything about it. Oh, we got things
All right,
to
so
talk
we're
about,
gonna
fellas.
full 1980s synth wave stream tonight.
And I ran. I ran so far away. I couldn't get away. Boom. Yeah, it's like I popped into. So I'm going to tell you something. We've been testing now for ATC, our team, and we've been putting stuff down. And today we had two rooms going. We had Sean Dice with Rice playing Pedro, and then we had the Lyle and Kyle, who I frequently have to put in timeout because in every practice game, no matter what happens, they start arguing with each other about basically how their puppets could possibly win these puppets.
We were on our best behavior today, Brad.
I don't believe you.
Fine. We even talked about how good our behavior was after you left.
You know,
which I know you will believe because you like the idea that we talked about you when you weren't there.
Yes, I do. Please remember to oh man, Brian, do it in the You're welcome, 80s do rule. Brad, Flock of Seagulls Chester, you know what? You say it like it's a bad thing, but I will go with that. Boom!
But Brad's only allowed to have that nickname if he can recreate the Flock of Seagulls hairstyle.
That would take a very nice wig.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. I could do the back of it. Whew. Our custodian Venatari as gobsmackly good as they appear to be? Yes. The answer is yes.
I was going to say, the long answer is I'll tell you next Monday because I'm going to try them out this week.
Yeah, it's just, but the thing is that here's why I really like those. We're going to be going a little bit all over the place today because we obviously have old meta and we got new meta to talk about. We got both. So we've got a wrap up and they've got that. But the Venatari are very fantastic. I mean, anytime you take 35 points off a unit, it's going to be good, or at least better. But 5 attacks, strength 7, AP 2 damage with Lance, getting a free rapid ingress, and with a unit that moves 10, and they can get anywhere, man. They are so good, and I think that you're going to run minimum 2 squads of 3, probably 3 squads of 3. And then there's a chance you actually run 2 3s and a 6. That's how delightful they are. But for sure, you're running multiple 3s. It's just too good not to. It's really hard to screen out 3 guys rapid ingressing. So run 18, be a man. Venatari are the real Flock of Seagulls. They ran so far away, and they did get away. So it's a big deal on that. So yeah, exactly. Sustained 5s, possibly AP3. They just get so many attacks, and then with Lance, I mean they're basically wounding the game on either. Most of them are going to be on 2s, and then if you're hitting big vehicles, you're still wounding it on a 4. Oh man, they just do a lot of work. You know what I mean? They can really get up. Exploding 5s is a real thing. Shield Host is again a real thing after we got the data slate, because having ability to not just get smoked in the head by devastating wounds is a huge deal. We talked about that when they first. Go ahead.
That is such a massive change. It was huge when they first announced it, but reverting it back to non-spillover mortal wounds it really helps a lot of the armies out that had protection against mortals.
If only someone had suggested that as a fix to mortal wounds a year ago when 10th edition came out on this channel.
I remember perhaps that did that.
perhaps all three of us.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody was like, "This is a trash fire. Just don't let it spill over." The thing is,
the only issue I have from the data slate, and I think it's an unintended consequence and will get fixed sooner than later, is I think pivoting's got a little bit of explaining left to do.
Hold on a second. Look what I found. Oh, fuck you, pivot. Come on, man. that can't be the real rule. We were talking about what is the biggest abusers of all time on this. And obviously you get things like everything Dark Eldar as a big thing. Crawley did have the end all be all. And I'm going to give you this one, Brian. Deep Strike the Harridan.
Yep.
It's on a
round base.
It's on a round base, and it is 8 inches off the base. So if you play it currently, and you put the Harridan down, you can make a 0-inch charge and make it. Ooh.
There's a lot of, well, you got to remember that it doesn't have hover, right? The Harridan doesn't have hover.
True.
I think Crawley said it does.
I don't know.
Does it? It's been a while since I've read it.
I mean, it's this big. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a huge model. It's one of those things of, I think Pivot, they need to just address.
Why? But I don't understand.
I don't even know what they were
why.
trying to fix. That's the weird thing. Like, what were they trying to stop?
Well, I think
they're trying to stop abuses from the Storm Raven.
Sure, but like, what? You can abuse it more now. It's just that it doesn't make sense.
I think it's one of those things of unintended consequences. That's my guess. I just think it's one of those little things that they were like, oh yeah, this seems like it fixes it, and then the handful of people that tried it out went, seems good, and nobody really deep dove into it.
Yeah, because they were probably trying it with like Redemptors.
They weren't charging it with Harridans.
Harry Dan,
Raiders, Tantalus, anything where you could just go, cool, rink, 3.5, 4.5 inches of free movement. Thanks, bros. It just, I don't understand how it just doesn't say. Here's what they could do. Instead of, they could go, hey, you can pivot 1,000,000 times, but basically your 1 point on your model can't be farther at the end of the turn than your movement. You know what I mean? So spin around to your heart's content, but if you're moving 12 inches, the back of your model can be 12 inches away. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And I think some of the unexpected victims of things like this are things like Rough Riders, right?
Yeah, anything on the ovals, man.
GW killed them with base.
You have to move them.
You lose 2 inches.
If it looks like a little bit of a pivot going around a corner, oh, that's 2 inches.
Yeah, you can just abuse the shit out of a bunch of vehicles. Yeah, exactly. Playmaker coming in. Astrea, actually, Snakes told me that. The Astreus is on a circle base. The Astreus is so big, I didn't know it had a base. So it's just
I think like pulsars are on a circle base, all the bodies for repulsors. I mean, there's just a lot of weird things.
I mean, as a whole, I liked what they did. I mean, the rules commentary, they went hardcore. They went hard in the paint on that. You know what I mean? I don't agree with a decent amount of their stuff, but they did try to clarify some things. But man, it was a pretty big swing and a miss with Pivot.
Hey, just want to pour one out for Brandon because his Outriders took another nerf with these pivot rules.
I mean, they were OP. I just think that they deserve what they got. I mean, it's just a real thing, guys. I mean, when you get a model that's an OP, you're gonna have to see some nerfs.
Have you guys tried out all the layouts yet?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't played games on them, but we had a pretty intense team conversation about all 8 of them.
Here's what I'm gonna go with. 1 and 2. They're fantastic. You know why? Because they're the old GW layouts. I think 1 is 4 and 2 is old 3. And then 5 is a sorrowful landscape of post-apocalyptic death. That thing is so bananas open. You can't deploy anywhere. Like if you go second and you're playing on 5, holy shit. If
you look at what deployments are designed for 5, that's the thing that got me, because the offset Dawn of War is designed for
tipping point.
and Dawn of War
it
is
has,
designed for,
and you have nowhere to deploy, dude. If you play tipping point on 5, you literally just you hope to hell you go first, because if you don't, you're like, hey, can you see me? Yes. Damn, I can't deploy anywhere.
Zuber and I played a game where we tried out that deployment zone with tipping point and everything, and we put it down and we were like, all right, I can hide quite a lot of my army. I mean, I could, but I'm like, the minute you get in one of the alleys, it is a clear line of sight from one corner of the board to the other. It was quite the gun range. It was kind of fun.
All of these, yeah, that is true, Kiar. I'm gonna do a sideways on this one. We are gonna talk about Brandon's Moo socks. He was on stream with Joe's chat talking about it. The Moo socks. But man, I like the deployments quite a lot. We did them as a team last night, and we went through each and every one, and we went through the missions for ATC. So we set up all 8 boards on the. There's only 3 deployments at ATC. There's Crucible, Tipping Point, and Crucible, Tipping Point. There's one more. What's the other one though?
I have it written down.
Because they're using 2 of them twice.
Search.
And then board corners, search.
Yeah, it's tip twice, Crucible twice, and search.
Yeah. So we put all 8 of them out, and we went over the 3 deployment, or the 3 deployments, and we went over all 8 boards, and most of the boards are pretty good. They felt really playable, and then 5 was a trash fire of humanity, and 8 is also kind of a shit show, depending. Just because of the fact that all of that stuff in the middle is tiny little things, and you can touch and see. There's a lot of lanes there, a whole lot of lanes.
And it's funny, the ones that you say are the trash fire, I liked 5.
Ugh.
8, I've only TTS'd a game on it so far, and I was like, all right, depending upon what those little ruins are, is where things come down to. If somebody goes, yeah, I'm just going to use pipes because they're under 2 inches, it's going to make things really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it can get pretty nuts. 5 is just crazy, just because you just can shoot everything.
I love 5.
It's literally just wide open. It's just, I mean, it's crazy time. If you have a shooting arm and you go first, you just go, you want me to roll this out, or you just want to stand there and brace for impact because you're just going to get shot to hell. It's a big deal on that. But as a whole, most of the deployments felt pretty good. Some felt fantastic. I
do like the wild variety for teams purposes. Like, it felt like, and I don't know, Brant is involved with enough stuff that maybe, and now they've hired a competitive person, maybe this is something they thought about, but they went from 4 to 8. That feels like that has to be intentional.
They're fully trying to embrace the 8-man team sides. They said that for a while.
Yeah, and I think that I really do like. I liked the ATC in the past. Last year, not as much, although the train was better. But I did like where there was wild variety in tables, and table choice mattered a lot in your matchups. So I do like that this is kind of building that in, that they're not all just ubiquitous. Are they all perfect for teams? I guess that's to be determined, and we'll see, and then hopefully update things next season.
I mean, to be honest with you, it gives more of diversification of the terrain you could play on, but it keeps us set. It means you're not playing on exactly the same thing, and you still have set terrain. And I just prefer set, like wildly more. I've played a decent amount of player place and stuff, but after playing on both, you know what I mean? If you have good set, it just feels better. It's also just faster, you know what I mean? So
I mean, I think we'll all miss going to ATC and be able to attach 4 12x12 sheets of plywood together to make an impenetrable wall of obscuring terrain. But, we'll just have to pour one out for our homies there.
I am definitely not trying to make you get Bellicor back into your list, because we have no Bellicor. Bellicor's for bums. Go fast or go home. It's Ricky Bobby style.
I don't even think Bellicor was ever considered for our demons list. I think everyone just looked at him and was like, nah.
No, because everybody has a locust now. So you're just like, hey, Yeah, screw you. Also, the fact that you can just go, hey, I'm in shadows, I can just advance and charge with the Slanesh is kind of legit right now. You're just like, hey, I'm just gonna go fast. You're like, and it's really fast too. Like, holy crap, do those move quickly? Especially having locusts everywhere effectively. That's a army that is really looking up. Let's talk about the most improved. Then we'll talk about the. We'll do it exactly the opposite of what I said before we went
Yeah, I was
live.
gonna say that's not what you said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't be caged. I can't be contained. But I think that demons. We talked about this a couple of shows ago when we went live talking about the data slate. But after looking at stuff, putting stuff on the board, I think that Tyranids might be the most improved army after the data slate because they got so much 17% here kind of thing, and it really adds up to have, if not
For,
the
for
most
clarification, when you say most improved, do you mean biggest jump to a competitive level, or just the biggest increase from where they previously were? Because I think AdMech players might have a question.
I don't know though because Admech, I I've got thoughts about Admech, so
Okay.
I think that Admech still has to figure out because they basically said you have more power, period. But you did get a bump up you got point nerfed. You know what I mean? So how much power did you gain? I don't know yet. You know what I mean? We have to figure that out because they really didn't change detachments on that. Now Tyranids already had a lot of cool parts running, and they got a lot of small bumps. The fact that the lethal hits, the exocrine, the stuff in Vanguard, you know what I mean? The fact that we changed how you can do the -1 on strats, you know what I mean, is a big deal because Tyranids have a lot of not battle tactic strats that are very, very nice that you can use. So there's a lot of different things that army got. I think that it's a big deal. The obviously if you don't just auto kind of take never ending swarm if you were trying to look at that because you can now only regen once a game. So I think that you're looking at again invasion fleet, synaptic, and then Vanguard got some serious mojo added to it. So
Vanguard got massive mojo.
yeah,
Massive mojo. You took 3 units that were good for their point cost, but just didn't really work well in any of the detachments, and then you slapped Vanguard on all 3 of them. Raveners have up down. They have Vanguard now, so you get the strats. Molochs, who were sneaking into competitive lists, got Vanguard. So now you have more tactics and more stratagems with them with things that have 16 attacks that are strength 8. Granted, they're only AP -1 and 1 damage, but it's 16 of them. It can throw mortal wounds. If you triple in Molochs and get a good deep strike range, you can do a lot of damage with them. There's a lot of potential there.
I mean, I think that you're just getting a little bit all over the place. They get a little more damage, a little more flexibility. I think that Tyranid players are going to be happy with the fact that they have puzzles to solve as opposed to this is the 1.5 things I can take and be very competitive. I think that they got very much better. Gargoyles are still ridiculous. You know what I mean? So they can still play the hell out of the game. I also think because of the fact in the new missions and new secondaries, you have to perform a shit ton of actions, and Tyranids have the ability to perform a shit ton of actions. So I just think that they got significantly better. Are they the best army out there? Nope.
Yep.
Not at all. However, are they very playable and they got much better? I think so.
They went from a C tier army to maybe a low A tier army. That's a big improvement.
Yeah, 100% on that. How important is battle line to deny secret missions? I don't know. That's a good question, Brandon. Because if you've got battle line and your opponent doesn't, you can auto take that secret mission and just score it. So it's almost like you want one unit of battle line to just sit back on your home objective sometimes. That is a real thing. Secret missions are good.
I think there's a real good chance you start seeing a lot of lists skew towards like a single unit of battle line in a transport of some sort just to keep it safe.
Well, you just keep it
like
off the
just
board.
like a thing to have.
Yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say.
I mean, yeah, but not everyone has ways
Yeah.
to keep it safe from on turns 3 and 4 if they kept it off the board.
Can also strategic reserve it to keep
Yeah.
it off the board.
Also,
which is a
army.
big-
I mean, shit, armies that have up down are crazy with that. You're like, hey, these strike teams are gonna be picked up every single turn. See you later, boys.
It's I know we're not talking new armies right now, but every time I look at sisters, I understand that Bringers of Flame is supposed to like just be a little bit more straightforward, powerful. I keep looking at Army of Faith specifically because you can up down Celestine
I mean,
or a
it's,
Canoness, and I'm like, that just seems like a way to build in some safety
sisters
points to my list.
still
that I
look
want to.
super disgusting. It's just they don't have as much shit. So we had this
Yeah.
talk a while back, team wise. So I think that those are going to be fantastic. The people that can play the game. I still don't think that. I think the battle line are going to be important for denying secret missions. I haven't found battle line to mean absolutely shit for the special missions. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I
And
don't
you're
care
not
about
even.
that at all.
It doesn't matter most of the time. The only one they make
No,
any
wait,
difference
Brad,
at all.
We did find one example last night where it did matter on the mission where you can reserve a battle line unit on turn 1 if you're playing knights. That
True. There you go. If you're knights on a battle line, yeah. But besides that, I mean, you can get a couple extra points on the banners one. But besides that, it doesn't matter. You can advance and do an action, whatever. You know, it's not game break. I'm not making my list shittier just so I have a chance of possibly getting a special mission where I could do something slightly okay.
And weirdly enough, the lists that were already taking battle line don't actually get improved by any of this because they were like, I'm looking at Blood Angels who are taking Assault Intercessors as battle line. They're not surviving till turn 5, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like you're not changing your play style just to like score more points with battle line or do more stuff with
I
battle
mean,
line.
there's things you can do. Again, you can possibly do something just to deny secret missions, and that really goes into are you winning or not? You know what I mean? And there's options. It's pretty funny on that because you can just go, all right, I want to be losing by 1 on on primary, so my opponent can't do secret missions, and then I'll outscore him at the end. So I like the mission pack very much. I like what's going on. I don't know how I feel about, like I said, a couple of the boards are meh. I mean the sweeping engagement was my least favorite deployment in the beginning of 10th. Now we're at 10.5. It's still my least favorite. They changed it to be worse.
I'm going to go with Brad. We're only 1 year into the edition. Can we at least have it be 10 and a third?
Yeah, there you go. 10.33. So it's a big deal.
I did have one more comment on the which army went up the most, Brad. Is there an argument, is the honest question, is there an argument for Votan increasing the most, specifically because their Jaegers are 80 points a month?
And I
points a unit?
apologize. Brandon and I talked about that and didn't even realize that I think like the day before they had released the points and I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
But man, infiltrating Jaegers at 80 points are tasty and delicious. Those guys also they just didn't have a 4 deployer. Votan has so many scouting units that it is amazing for a 4 deployer to carve out that area that you can now scout to.
I'm specifically avoiding playing Votan until their model line gets increased. So like I'm going to dive in whenever their book comes out this edition is my guess. But I'm just looking at it. I'm like, man, the idea of taking 6 Sagittars and like 3 units of Jaegers and you split up 2 of them and you put half of them in a Sagittar. You got a 10, a 5, and a 5 infiltrating, and still you can put your other stuff in Sagittars like you had been. That just seems so much fun.
I don't know.
Agree. I was shocked at how low the points were for those.
Oh, they're so good for what they are.
They're really good.
And they're still
really
just generic shooting Votan. They're not going to tickle.
No, the thing is that they just have 4 deploying is so key, especially again with a unit that army that has scout. Now you can basically force the board so that you can scout where you want to scout, and at least give the threat of. Again, we've talked a lot about that. Is the threat of doing something is almost always better than the actual thing. You know what I mean? Because your opponent has to respond to that. It's a big deal on that. Kenneth, I don't know about in unit of infiltrators or intercessors for infiltrators. Infiltrators are just so good.
I think if
12
you're
inch
playing
block.
Marines, you have to start with at least one unit of infiltrators.
I mean, 12-inch deep strike denial and forward deploy is so good, especially with so many armies being able to do uppy downy shit. You can just block that out. Hey, you want a 3-inch deep strike next to me? No. So, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's very possible, depending on what kind of Marine you want or taking, that you do want a unit battle line in your list. That's fine, but I don't think infiltrators are where I would cut something.
Yeah, I agree on that. So, who is now that we've got some play in, we've had a time to put some shit on the board. What do you guys think? Who's the biggest now? It's not that long, but maybe after a week, basically, who's the biggest losers after the data slate? And we have data slate. We've got the rules commentary, and we've got to use the rules commentary with the missions. Who was the biggest loser?
I say this 100% tongue in cheek, because Brad gets mad at me anytime I complain about stuff like this. Biggest losers are Sisters players who had really high hopes, and they got brought back down to the level everybody else.
You mean that it's just a really good army now, as opposed to auto winning games?
Yeah. The Sisters players who thought they were just going to get 5 free wins every GT, and now actually have to work for it.
Yeah, I feel so sad for everyone that was like, man, I want to crush everybody's soul.
I think the biggest loser, in all honesty, was Eldar.
They did get kicked.
Their stuff, so they got Shadow Specters got hit.
Everything that people were playing.
Warp Spiders got hit, and yes, the pivoting rule helps minimalist, but like nothing got innately better for them. So I just think that they ended up getting the worst of this.
I'm not having a lot of things jump to mind. I guess Thousand Suns technically lost stuff.
DSM got pointed. Corey points that out.
The one that I'm thinking of is Guard. Like, Guard inherently just can't do what they were doing before.
Guard, that army changed to very little.
You can't do infantry recycling for Infinity anymore. Your indirect has been neutered. No matter, they don't even have to fuck with the points anymore. They just know the indirect will always be capped.
I don't want to say unkillable guard blobs, but they're going to the hard to shift guard blobs. That's the big change. Getting rid of the
Let's talk about the fact that every single damn edition, GW hems and haws about what to do about indirect, and then finally basically finds the exact same solution every time. But it takes them a year or so to figure it out. You're like, hey man, should we do the same thing we did before? Nah, it'll probably be different. You're like, come on guys, you already found the solution.
I don't think they fixed indirect.
They just made it more palatable. When it always fails on a 1, 2, 3, I can deal with indirect that only hits half the time. It's when people are getting rerollable 2s on indirect and shit. That sucks.
Indirect, the easiest fix to indirect were you cannot improve the ballistic skill of a model shooting with indirect fire rule. So therefore, if the tank could see you, absolutely improve it, do its whole 9 yards. But when you're shooting an indirect, you can't modify
I mean, right now, it just, their solution was you only hit on a 4+ if you're firing indirect, and I'm perfectly okay with it.
But if you go with Brian's solution, then that just fundamentally means they have to go and rewrite a bunch of data sheets, because there's a bunch of data sheets that just say ignore all the rules that indirect applies to you.
Yeah, I'm saying they could have simply said that you cannot modify the ballistic skill of indirect fire by your army. Your army cannot modify.
God damn it.
Fixes it, because then Marines can still hit on 3s with their indirect. They're not getting any reroll, say they can't get rerolls, put the whole thing to it. And then Guard hitting on 4s with indirect, not so bad, with no modifiers, no rerolls, no nothing.
That's the biggest thing is anytime that indirect is very, very consistent, you know what I mean? It just sucks because you can't do anything about it. When you're just getting auto hit by indirect, it always blows. Let's go to the wall real quick, guys. Corey, they basically, CSM only got Renegade Raiders effectively nerfed. Everything that was in that list, I think that Soul Assassin Pact is really, really good right now. +1 to wound.
Yeah, for those of you watching at home who have not played against multiple Lord of Skulls, prepare for that.
Yeah.
Because it's coming.
Yeah.
GSC doesn't look that good, KR. Not really, to be honest with you. I think that army Didn't quite hit the mark. We'll see. I think that they need more stuff. And as always, Brandon kicking puppies and hating sunshine. Blood Angels are about to go all legends, possibly, but god damn it,
Doesn't matter.
They went two straight updates with absolutely nothing happening to them. They just put on their overcoat and their hat and just went, nothing to see here, boys, nothing to see here. So screw you.
Yeah, I'll push back lightly on Brandon's comment because I know he's just like trying to get my goat. It doesn't matter. Like you could turn everything into a new Primaris version of it, and they're still going to be fine because Blood Angels were still crushing people as Gladius with like only Blood Angels characters and a single unit of Death Company. They can go back to that at any point if all their cool shit gets legended. It doesn't matter. They'll be fine.
We did forget
all their cool stuff is not going to get legend.
No, it's too iconic.
I think it's way more likely they just like change fundamentally like what Sanguinary Guard do as a unit, kind of like what they did with like Inner Circle Companions or Deathwing Knights or something like that.
Yep.
And we see a reimagining of what Sanguinary Guard's role is on the battlefield instead of these unshiftable 10-man Terminator bricks.
I think
but we'll see what happens.
I think we're going to see Inceptor type Sanguinary Guard. That's a personal opinion. No knowledge of any kind whatsoever. I think that's something we might see where they're still going to have close combat, but they'll have some different type of thing and they'll be in like Inceptor armor.
If I remember the data correctly, I'm pretty sure Blood Angels after Ultramarines are the most popular Space Marine chapter, according to sales. So they're not going to just put Blood Angels in the dirt. They're always going to be stuff they sell well. So they're going to keep wanting to make cool stuff that people want to buy and play. So it's fine. It's whatever.
We did forget that Iron Storm got just booted into the head. That took a couple big hits. Holy shit.
They were mostly all points nerfs though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Points nerfs, but the indirect too.
I think
Were they
Iron
playing a
Storm's
lot of indirect?
I'm just saying, like, people had one of the versions did have whirlwinds and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was innately good iron
version. Yeah.
I think they're still going to be fine. I think the little bit of a Black Templar nerf to that list is going to be the interesting one.
I mean,
you know what though? I feel like this is a great time for us to pull up, or let's move Brad down his path, because it sounds like we should look at, when you say they were going to be fine just like they were, let's look at how they have been doing for the last 8 weeks, Brian.
Kaboom! You know what? You know what? Fine.
Good time to move on.
Bam! Takeaways after 8 weeks.
And you know what? While Brad's getting technology ready, I feel like Brian has something he needs to tell everybody.
I absolutely do have everything to tell anybody. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe. It helps out our metrics and helps us do more content.
We're flowing now. We're flowing as a team.
We are.
And
along with that, if you were trying to go to the Salt City GT for 40K that is behind me, message me, get on our wait list. I'm trying to get more tickets added because we sold the 100 we had set aside. We're going to try and do more.
6 billion spots.
I will, as long as I have terrain and space, I'll keep putting tables in.
Some of you guys are playing in the basement. Freddy Krueger in the boiler room. Let's talk about, Joe set us up. He gave us the takeaways for the last 8 weeks. Space Marines, or Space Wolves, sorry. We're the top army, at least win percentage wise.
Brad, how are Space Wolves the best army in the game for an entire season and you never once played them?
I don't own any Thunderwolves. I mean, I don't know why I say that. I could have borrowed Thunderwolves, but yes. Because Thunderwolves, I should have actually put them on the board. I was a bit too busy getting excited about orcs. And you know what I did? I grabbed a hold of Warhorde and ducked. I looked at what Blood Angels were doing. I was like, hey guys, what's going on? They're like, be quiet. Put your goddamn hat and your trench coat on.
You hid under the table with all the Blood Angels.
Exactly. Don't let shit happen to you. So that's what I did. So that was a big thing on that. I don't think the Wolves got hit very much, to be honest with you. I'm going to go down these people that did very well. We're going to talk about what they think. Because Space Wolves didn't really have anything happen to them. They got a small point nerf, but I don't even think that list changes hardly at all. Where you lose a scout.
I have to wonder if GW thinks that by making Champions of Rust better, they'll just inherently make less people play Wolf Jail because now they'll go play actual Champions of Rust.
I mean, Champions of Rust, I looked over it more to really, because I kind of dismissed it when I read it. And it's better than it was. I mean, significantly better. They buffed it twice. The first buff was like absolutely nothing. This buff is like fairly decent, but I still think Vols are just good. It's a big deal on that. So, Grey Knights. Grey Knights got hit a little bit with points, but only points on the Dread Knights. And I still think that their Silver Tide is delightful. 2-up saves and uppy downy, especially in this meta with the missions and the fact that you can do secret missions and stuff like that. Having a strike team just show up in your backfield is 20 points a game pretty much. That's huge. It's pretty legit on that. So I think that GK is going to consistently do fine.
Agreed. I think that the minor nerf they got, well, shouldn't say minor nerf, because the army that was popular and doing well was the 6 Dread Knights and 2 Redeemers. That list took a hit, but I think the meta was going to shift away from that anyways.
Yeah, because you don't have to do actions.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal on that. Now, my orcs, I like I said, I put my head down. Green Tide and Bully Boys both took a hit. And those were the ones that were carrying by far the most games and wins. So orcs will be a little bit hit. I don't think that it's terrible though. Green Tide got hit a lot harder than Bully Boys did.
Why do you think Green Tide got hit harder?
The fact that they changed the surge for 1 is a huge deal. So not being able to auto 6, big deal. Not being able to add the turn on the strat, big deal. Rerolling charges is nice on that strat though. But also being able to finish off a unit is kind of good, because they get a 5-up invuln, they no longer get reroll 1s, and once they get below 10, now it's just a 6-up invuln. And before you're focusing these units down, but you weren't killing everybody, and then they're regenning guys. Now you can more aptly put away a unit. Basically, once a unit gets on its last leg, you can really pick it up. So, do I think that they're gone and gone? No, absolutely not. I just think that they got hit. You know what I mean? They're just less. They're fantastic stuff. So, it's a big deal on that. So I think that they'll be fine. Bully Boys lost a decent amount of points if you were playing, all of the knobs, and they went up to 5-up Finno Pain. And I don't think that anybody thought that they were going to keep the 4-up for very long. They had their time in the sun. Will people continue to play them? I mean, double Wog is still pretty goddamn good. You know what I mean? So
it's like a 5-up Feel No Pain with 2-up with Armor Contempt is bad either.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying they also the Mega Knobs also went up 10 points apiece. So if you're running
they're gonna die now. A lot easier than they were before. It's that simple. The Mega Knobs are still really strong, still really good, but they're not also a killing unit. And then after it kills something and stands there, it could tank before. Now it can kind of tank. It's still good. It's just not as strong.
Yes, they did fix the Grot CP ability. Thank you very much. It's in the move phase. Boom! CP for everyone, making it rain. I'm just saying, Zod and the Grots. Zod, Ninja Warrior, Kung Fu Master, leading the Grot Brigade, getting those CP. Thank you very much. AdMech, didn't do great for the last 8 weeks. I mean, it's probably 8 months to be honest with you.
Not a lot of games played for them either.
Yeah. They got significant buffs, but they also got point nerfs. The army of walkers and stuff like that might be a thing. We're gonna have to see. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really starting to. I want to look at what's going to go on. Props to Sean. He's been playing AdMech. We're hanging out with him for a while, and we'll see how that list improves. So I'm looking forward to that.
AdMech is the wait and see army of the release because none of us are familiar enough with playing AdMech at this point because they've been so bad that we haven't been putting them on the table.
I've played against Adamec once this edition, and it was a bunch of big robots. So I assumed that it was going to be really hard to kill them and shift them. And then they just I tabled the guy in like one turn, and I was very confused because I just didn't understand what was happening. So
I mean,
I
AdMech
imagine
is still
that's not how they play anymore.
no. They got a lot of stuff that they can do. Yeah, I mean, I do still think that they have some key pieces. I mean, Vanguard units are still disgusting. Making people just go, "Hey, your OC 0 is still a big deal."
Yeah.
So that's still legit. You can do a lot of stuff with people against that because if you're OC 0, you can't do actions and things. So like if you put those Vanguard, you have to kill them to make sure that you can be able to do stuff. I mean, it's a 3-inch aura. So I think the AdMech's going to see maybe not a resurgence, but I think they're going to see definitely some experimentation. Yeah, they just finished downloading the Rainbot. Yeah.
Your local AdMech players who have spent $1 million of in-life dollars to build their army will actually put them on the table now.
Probably. I mean, the question is are you going to see the top tier players who were the AdMech specialists on the table go back to playing them?
That's where
I don't think right away. I wouldn't rule it out,
so.
but I don't think so right away.
Chicken, I mean, to be fair, Chicken's getting that extra pop on the last cannon and the auto cannon is significant, though. You know what I mean? Like that by itself is kind of a big deal. So we'll see. You know what I mean? And again, they're upping your weapon skill and ballistic skill, still legit, man. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, that's true. Battle line call who goes through walls, and he's 8 inches now. I mean,
you actually may see in this Lion and Gilliman again.
Let's not go that crazy.
I mean, it's low. You may see them. You may see them on a table. I'm not going to say you're going to see them at the top tables, but you may see them on the table again. The people who enjoyed playing those models may bring them back out.
There's nobody who enjoyed playing the Lion because he's never been playable ever.
You don't know that. It's totally.
I do know that.
You do know that. The Nids. I think Nids we're gonna see, but I think Nids, like I said, I thought they were my most improved, and obviously we had Pope, Lennon win events with them. I think that they have much more play. I got yelled at before because I said they didn't need that much stuff. I think they got a lot of stuff, but we'll see. I think that they're much improved though. I think
they got more than I expected.
Agreed. I also think they got more options. They didn't just go, hey, the list that you were already taking is better. They just have more things they can do. Are we going to find the secret sauce right away? Not 100% sure. Guard won 2 events this weekend. Will they get hit by indirect? Will they get hit by the fact that they can't just regen a unit every single turn? Probably. Also, their lethal hits got changed, of course, the way that they work. You can move around now, but you can't. Certain units can't lethal certain things.
All right, hold on. I need to go to the wall. This is completely disrupting what we're talking about. I understand that, but I was ranting on this earlier, and someone on the wall brought it up, so now we're going to talk about it. Why are crisis suits T5 when this person that I built, who is a body glued to the outside of a big metal robot, and this body is T6? Why? The crisis suit is inside the armor and they're T5. This person's outside their armor and they're T6. Explain it to me, Brad.
Lyle, next thing you're going to say is...
And they don't have faith in the Emperor.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's why.
Also, next thing you're going to say, crisis suit should be able to go through walls. Come on, keep your heretic thoughts to yourself. This is just ridiculous.
So, I mean, with Guard, they either got hit the worst or it just forced their army to completely fundamentally change what happened and how they play it. I think we're going to start seeing that the Krieg Marshal, 20-man Krieg blob with a Primaris Psyker in it, where they can get that.
A lot of us had already been playing that. Do you think we're going to see 3 of them in a list now?
I think you're going to see 3 of them in a list. I think it goes to 3 of those in a list. I think it's going to be in I don't want to say every list, but the vast majority of them, you're going to start seeing 12 to 18 Bulgrin every time.
I was gonna say,
just
imagine like
sporadically.
18 Bulgrin and Max Kriegman, and then just guns behind them.
Oh, Paint Celestia just had my favorite because it is true. Because Paragons in Flame can also move faster than a Cold Star Lead Crisis unit. Suck it, Trebek.
Yeah, and they've both moved through walls equally poorly, so it doesn't matter.
It could be because everyone hates Tau. Just accept it.
The Codex Space Marines not doing great. They still have play. Let's be honest here. To be fair, they have some play, but a lot of their stuff they haven't got any updates. They haven't got any juice. You know what I mean? If you're basically a compliant chapter, you got a whole lot of nothing. You're just waiting for your card from your dad to show up. Like, hey man, is that dude still sitting on the throne? I guess I'll wait a little bit longer.
Do you agree with GW where a large chunk of their win rate is drugged down by newer players just starting the game and going to their first couple events?
You mean Stu's argument of get good? Which still might be my favorite meta watch. Hey guys, we're doing really bad. What do you think you should do about it? Have you tried being better? Like,
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I mean, let's be honest. And we've talked about this on the narrative show, Brad, where it's like, look, the new guy who shows up, who got some models from his buddy and ended up and goes to his first event running 6 tactical squads, a couple Razorbacks, and some Firstborn goes, oh, his intention wasn't to go 0-5 and drag down the meta, but it happens. I think part of the Space Marine thing is they're the starting poster boy army.
I mean, they
never
sell
going to
more.
be top of the meta unless they're broken.
Yeah, I mean, regular Marines sell more than. I mean, the Marine line period sells more than everything else combined. So yes, you're definitely going to get part of that. Can you buy tax squads? Poor Firstborn. So.
Andy, you are wrong. New players do rock up to tournaments, actually.
Yeah, when you're nice to them, Andy, stop being such a dick to new players, and more people would show up.
The last like 4 RTTs I've been to has had the same like new player who's like been slowly painting his army and learning the rules every single event. He loses 0-3 every single time, but he's been showing up and trying to learn.
Yeah, it's because every time that in Texas, Andy sees a new player, he just punches him right in the face. He's like, "This is how we do it in Texas."
I think part of the reason that new players are starting to go to tournaments more is, number one, it's a great experience. It's fun to hang out with your friends and have a good time. And number two, where else are you going to get 5 games in on a weekend where you get to learn a lot and see a ton of different armies? It doesn't happen very often. You get your 3 games at your RTT a month. If you get an extra weekend to sneak in 5 more games, it's not a bad thing. It's a good learning experience.
I clearly like going to tournaments. So, Thousand Suns did fantastic the last 8 weeks. They've done really well. The question is, did they get hit too hard? Did they get hit right? Did they not? I mean, I don't think anybody thinks they didn't get hit at least enough, because they got a lot of different things touching them. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think they got hit okay, but hearing some of the top tier Thousand Suns players stepping away from them because of the hit tells me that it may have been too much for the top tier competitive, which means it may overall be a little bit too much.
I guess that depends, right? Because like the question is, is any army that people are only playing because they're that good that they're not willing to play them if they're brought down at all healthy for the game? I think that's a reasonable question.
Yeah, no, it is a very reasonable question. I think they're fine. I think they're still going to be competitive. I think they're still going to be difficult to deal with in points. There's going to be times, but you're not going to get super bad feeling, because
I mean, they took away those
it's going, entirely across the board on turn 1, and you going, oh shit.
I mean,
all I know is after Adepticon, I thought for sure they were going to buff T-Suns because they just looked so bad in the finals. I thought for sure that Brandon was going to get T-Suns buffed by just pooping on them.
They've just done really well at the top end. They're a very difficult army to play. They got nerfs because now you can only perform 1 Cabal ritual on any 1 unit. So you can't double and triple move. You can double Doom Bolt, but you can't double Doom Bolt off one unit, especially after you moved it twice, kind of thing. And Twist of Fate, I think, is the biggest nerf they got, because they're still going to have, I mean, their flamers are going to be, what, AP3 now? Because they get +2 for Twist of Fate. But your opponent now gets a response. They get to, armor contempt. They get a save. I think that's a huge deal for them. Has it done enough rock?
I think T-Suns still just do enough stuff that like you're always going to respect them.
100%.
The question is going to be, are they busted enough that we're going to see them terrorizing top tables now?
They got no point increases. They still can do just a bananas amount of damage. It's just they can't do as much abusive stuff as they could before.
Yeah, they have to interact with you now. They can't
Correct.
play a non-interactive game where they do what they want and you can't do anything about it. Now there's a give and take, which is what they want the game to be in the first place.
So as we move on to Chaos Knights, I think they're still in that okay spot.
I mean, let's just lump them together, to be honest with you. CK and Imperial Knights both are going to benefit greatly by the ability to just YOLO walls. That's a big deal, man.
I think they're both.
I really look forward to us convincing Brad to play Knights like at Salt City or something, and then he just only rolls ones.
I'm just consistently battle shocked.
Yeah.
God, that sounds terrible for me. Playing Knights would make my heart explode.
Did Custodes get enough buffs to bring them back?
I'll tell you next Monday.
The answer is yeah. Well, at least we think it's yes. Sean Dice with Rice thinks it's enough.
I think they got plenty. I think the issue with them is going to be the stuff that you really need is Forge World, and that does keep a lot of players off playing them more.
Having defense against mortals, basically against devastating wounds, is a huge, huge deal for their durability. And basically Venatari, the two things, there's more things that happen, but like Venatari going down 35 points for 3 and Shield Host getting significant buffs to the detachment. I think that those two things by themselves made Custodes back on the team.
Yeah, they simultaneously made Shield Host more durable and better at killing everything. So like, yeah, that's hard to buff things better than that. And their points got cheaper, like you said.
As we can say, like CSM, got to see where they lie. I mean, considering ACO, you had what a lot of people thought was the worst detachment for CSM, almost win the event. Tells me that the CSM book's deep and has a lot of play.
Yeah, I think they hit Renegade Raiders, and that's about it, though. You know what I mean? That's what they jacked. So I think that they're fine, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they're perfectly fine.
They're still more durable, I mean, they still have that, the ability to do that. I mean, they're not like they used to be durable, but they are at least more. They have options. How about that? So he was definitely claiming to be a Custodes expert, 100%. Shoot him down. Put in the comments how much you dislike the fact that Kyle thinks he's a Custodes expert. All of the hate goes to him.
Wait. Custodes. They move fast, have a 2-up save, and wear gold armor, right?
All I'm saying is Lyle thinks he's such a Custodes expert. He's taking him to the tournament this week, and he said, I am the best Custodes player in the universe. He didn't even say the planet, the country, or anything. He said the universe. Actually, dimension. He said in all dimensions, I am the best Custodes player.
All of space and time.
All space. All alternate dimensions doesn't matter. 2 of them, he's Miles. So, yeah, I don't even know where I'm going from there. That was fantastic.
I will say, KR says that I was wrong, that they're gold armor and they move slow. Not my Custodes.
Zoom.
We're going fast, boys. Got to go fast.
String 3 makes this impossible. I don't know how we got on that. You know what? For the last couple minutes, I'm going back to the campfire. Enjoying it. Hold on. Relax at the campfire, my friends.
So with this upcoming weekend being the first hopeful weekend of missions. I would assume it's going to be the weekend after next. That'll be the first full embrace. What are you guys looking forward to the most?
New secondaries.
Let me tell you what I'm looking forward to is the new aircraft rule. We're so excited about it. That's my favorite change in the entire update. It's the fact that aircraft now guaranteed get to shoot when they come on the table. That makes me happy.
Yep, that's nice. I actually like the.
If I had Tiger Sharks this weekend, Brian, let me tell you what I'd be playing.
Oh, absolutely. My big thing is the overhanging, moving over terrain thing. Like for me, I want to see that in play. Because man, it was obnoxious to try and move some stuff around the GW layouts. Like really obnoxious.
God. Tom Sadi with the super chat. Did you guys discuss my ATC ad mech list yet?
Tom, are you going to buy that army and sell it within an hour?
Tom, turn one again.
To his first round opponent.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I got good news and bad news, guys. I got a really good price. Also, you're going to have to pencil me in for zeros the rest of the weekend because I sold the army. It's good times. Good times. You know what?
No, what's the thing you're looking outside of the aircraft thing? What's the next thing you're looking forward to the most?
I don't know, man. I've been painting or building Millions of Sisters over the last couple of days. So I am I messed everything up. I'm mostly excited to just try some new armies this season. I'm a little burned out on, which is weird because like they're good, but I'm a little burned out on Blood Angels and Tau. So barring me getting to do a little bit of memeing in the list, like with some aircraft or something like that, I'm just looking forward to. This seems like the best time to like try some new armies. Is like everyone's trying new stuff, new meta, new missions, new tables. Like let's just make it a whole thing and let's just dive in with a new group.
Yeah, even though I don't think the GSE book is super amazing, I really want to try out the detachments in a bunch of different lists because I have ideas. I'm not saying any of them are good, but I want to try them all out.
All right, why do people hate me on this? Thomas Ogden coming in with a $1.90 super chat. Also obligatory, go blue through Ohio State. That's hurtful. That's hurtful. You know, you could have just stopped with the go blue. Huh? Had to come in with that negativity. Don't you put that evil on me?
I don't know if somebody would put like I'm going to go with like a $500 super chat in. I think we could get him to wear at an Ohio State game Michigan blue. I'm just saying.
I'm so poor that I do anything for money.
The GT this weekend is in Lansing. We could probably acquire some Michigan State paraphernalia.
Michigan State doesn't bother me as much as Michigan. I mean, this is the crazy.
It's still a Big Ten team.
This is literally what I grew up with. I was at my uncle's watching. This is when I'm like 7 years old, and Michigan and Ohio State were playing, and my grandma took one of my friend's Michigan shirts and went out on the porch and set it on fire. That's a real thing. That's how crazy my family is. So I was just like, oh, this is how we're rolling, apparently. So yeah, things and stuff.
I don't know, Brad. We were discussing the specialty drinks for the Salt City GT, and I'm like, oh, a Malbec is going to be a specialty drink. And everybody's like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, glass of Malbec. You're going to have to walk up and go, I'll take a glass of Go Blue.
I love that. Just the wall. Corey, I've seen you do worse for $1.99. Brandon, I've seen him do worse for 75 cents. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And Tom, I'll give you 2 turkey sandwiches if you wear a Michigan jersey to next week's show. Let's talk about Salt City.
So the Salt City GT currently taking waitlist signups for 40K. The more people I get to sign up on the wait list, the more I can press the hotel for more space if we can find some. So message me today. I think that's a good way to do it. Just message Legion Brian Horton on Facebook.
Did Brad actually sign up for your event this time?
Brad has not only signed up for the event, Brad was the first one to sign up for the event.
Oh my God.
Boom.
What is happening?
I'm an adult.
And that Thomas Ogden guy is also signed up. So hopefully we'll see him show up.
Does he know that?
He does know that.
Okay.
It's gonna be good times, my friends. It's gonna be good times.
But if you want to play Kill Team, Age of Sigmar 4.0 and Skaven Tide goes on pre-order next Saturday. Or on coming Saturday.
Brandon wants to make sure you put him on the wait list right now.
Also, KR is doing some investigative journalism. Who signed him up?
I mean, it may have been the TO who made sure he signed up first. There's a chance.
Possibility that it definitely was not me, but I did say I'm going. You're like, are you for sure coming to Salt City? I said yes. He's like, no problem. I got you. I like that no one believes that I signed up for a tournament. I did sign up for
wait, are you still planning on driving to Lansing this weekend without a ticket or a spot in the event?
I just got a ticket. D Lake sent me a text. I did tell Dylan, I go, here's the deal. Put me on the active, not on the wait list and playing. Or because either way, I'm coming to your tournament. I'm either going to play and be an adult, or I'm going to show up without a ticket and get bonkers drunk and ruin things. He's like, God damn it. I'm like, yes. Terror tactics worked.
Nice. So that's what you're doing this week? Are you both going to be in Lansing this weekend?
Yes.
Now that I have something fun to play, I'm going to Lansing. I had been balking at it pretty hard because I wanted something interesting to do.
I do have to send
hunting
Brandon
for
an
something to
itinerary.
do in the Northeast this weekend. So I have the weekend off, so I'm actively trying to find something today going, oh, is there anything anywhere within a few hours that I can drive to?
Did I sign up for LVL this year?
You can come to Lansing. It's only a few hours away.
I did sign up. Did I sign up for LVO? Myself? I think I bought a ticket this year to something. Like
I mean,
myself.
that would have been like since this weekend, Brad. Did you sign up this weekend?
No. I just
You
called.
might
I
want to
know,
go get a ticket for LVO.
I also want to point out Adepticon hotels go up on Wednesday, I believe.
Yes, 26th.
Oh man.
That'll be a whole new thing up in the big cheese state, Brad.
Where are we going?
It's in Milwaukee now for
Oh,
Adepticon.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be good. I mean, my
I've never been to
entire
Wisconsin.
my
so-
entire crew of Chicago-based guys is not super excited about it, but
Well, wait, are you telling us that Pajama Pants, who live 5 minutes away from Adepticon, is grumpy about this?
yeah, he's not super excited about these changes. Like my entire team lives 5 minutes from Allen also, so none of them were super excited about that. So we will see. We will see.
Now you just got to find a team of Milwaukee-based people.
You know, I'm gonna keep going with the guys that make the crazy shit, and I just show up. It seems better. I did paint last year too. We use models on table that I painted. I mean, I dry brush.
And now you're an accomplished painter. You can contribute even more this time.
I'm showing up and doing stuff. It's gonna be great. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna tell people our catchphrases, and we're gonna Queens wave our way out of here, gents.
Stay milky, my friends.
Stay milky.
Thanks, everyone.